What is the silver cord? The silver cord is explained as a connection to the physical body when one is dreaming. Ecclesiastes 12:6 says, Or whether the silver cord be loose, or the golden bowl be broken, or the pitcher be broken at the fountain, or the wheel at the cistern. This confirms that this is not just some sort of New Age theory, but proof that the body is connected to the physical. I'm going to tell you a story of the year my mom passed away. I took it as a very difficult time, understandably, but her and I were really close. So one night I fell asleep and I dreamed that I'm at the stairwell, and an angel who's usually with me in a dream is always on my right hand side. Took me to a stairwell, and I knew immediately, without him even communicating with me, that he took me there to see my mom. I looked at him and I said, "She's here." And without communicating with his mouth, I noticed that, he sort of acknowledged that she was there. And I was so excited, I started to run up the stairs. And I remember him saying, "Don't go too far." So when I went there, I saw this beautiful, bright place. And it was like paradise, just like the Bible explains paradise with, the thief, the conversation between the thief and Jesus. He explained that he believed in him and he apologized for his wrongdoings and everything. And, Jesus confirmed that. So anyway, I noticed that there was a line to get into this place. And for some reason, I had some sort of like access. I remember seeing with my kids were with me, but it's like we weren't really belonging there at the time. It was just like we were there to observe. And I went off on my own, and I eventually found this hotel room door, and my gut told me that she was behind there. And I was so nervous, and in a dream I could feel my heart beating so fast, as if one is approaching danger, but it's a mixture of excitement at the same time. And I'm knocking on the door, and I hear my mom's voice. She answers, and she sounds young. And I'm waiting for her to approach the door, and when I look at the foot of the door, through the gap I can see her approaching, but it was like this huge light. I started to understand that this light was not only following her, but she was this light as well. And that was confirmed when she opened the door and I looked at her. And I was in shock. I was in a state of shock in a dream. I don't even know if how to even explain that, or if that's even possible, but it was for me in a dream. And I just stood there looking at her, and I was in shock. She appeared to be about early 20s, really young, no flaws. Her hair was perfect, her face was perfect. And I noticed something that stood out in a dream where she was concerned. I noticed that when I looked at her, she wasn't flesh and blood, but she was light. Her inside of her was light. Her skin was beaming with light. She was not only this body with flesh anymore, as I expect. I took a good look at her, and everything in me knew that this was real, that she was real, that she existed. And I began to be so grateful and excited at the same time. And I just remember falling backwards as if I was passed out or something. And I remember coming back to my body, or however you want to describe that. And it was so painful. I felt like every part of my body was cramping, my legs, my face, I felt like my heart was repumping all over again. I felt every sensation come back, but in a worse way. And, it didn't really strike me odd because I suffer from sleep apnea, so this is what it feels when I feel like I've left my body and come back. And at the same time, I couldn't move. I knew my eyes were shut still, and I knew that I was back in my body, and I knew that I was home. But what I also noticed, that I was home alone, and my kids were at school during the day at the time, and I remember hearing the most intelligent conversation ever between two beings. I'm not going to say that they're aliens, but I knew in my heart of hearts. I knew without a doubt, without anyone telling me or trying to convince me, that these two beings were angels. And it was the most intelligent conversation. One who seemed as if he was already assigned to me to monitor my vitals and to make sure that I was okay and protected, because during this time I was not only physically incapacitated, but I was also spiritually sensitive and spiritually vulnerable because I was not able to move. I was able to sense things, and I knew that I was awake. I knew that I was not crazy. I mean, this has not happened, you know, this is not the first time something like this has happened, but I knew for sure that the conversation that was taking place was angels, and one apparently came in and inquired about me, and the other one was assuring him that I was fine. And it was just the most intelligent conversation between two beings that I've ever heard. And I remember waking up and just telling my dad, getting him on the phone and letting him know, oh my God, this is what happened. I saw her, she's young, it's just like the Bible said, and everything. And he was freaking out, I was freaking out, I was crying, and it was the most wonderful experience ever. I mean, this was back in 2011, it's 2017 right now. Mind you, it's been 6 years, but I'm just now feeling comfortable to tell my story. And I just hope that this helps someone. You know, if you've missed someone, if you've lost someone dear to you, you would understand what this feels like. You would give anything to hear or see them and touch them again. And I'm grateful for the opportunity spiritually to make contact with my mom. And yep, that's it. If you have any questions, please comment down below, and I'll be glad to answer your questions.